Information Warfare Pavilion, Day 3, Speaker number 2, our last event here in the Speakers Theater for West 2022. Before I do the introduction, I just want to thank all of you for coming in and into our sessions. I see a lot of faces that have been to many of them, and you're the reason why we do this, and I'm glad to see that you keep coming back to us. So we hope to see you again here next year. It's now 10:45, as I said, information warfare. One of the key points is our oceanography meteorology community that controls the atomic clock, so we always try to start on time. So our next and final speaker of this week is Rear Admiral Kurt Rothenhaus, Program Executive Officer, Command, Control, Communications, Computers, and Intelligence, PEO C4I. And he started out in New York as a native of New York City, received his commission after attending University of South Carolina, Bachelor of Science degree, also earned a Master of Science in Computer Science, and a PhD in Software Engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School. Like a recurring theme here this week, he's a former SWO, as most of us were, and as Vince was, as many others of the speakers this week. Lots of operational assignments, and then he got into the acquisition world and PMW 160 and PMW 170 and PMW 150 and PEO C4I, and that's enough of that. Without further ado, Admiral.
All right, how's everybody doing? Woohoo! So thanks for coming to the last event at the Pavilion. I'd be remiss if I didn't say thanks to AFCEA and everybody who made this happen. It has been fantastic. It is so cool to be in person and seeing folks. Cool stuff, cool people, cool tech, great mission. What more can you ask for? So thanks to everybody who put this together, and I'm honored to kind of bring up wrap this up here. For our industry partners who are in the audience, for attending today, you get a sole source non-compete. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Miss Wiseman back at headquarters just looked up in the sky for a minute, our attorney. I am kidding. But thanks again for the opportunity. I'm going to talk about a few topics, but what's most important is in the audience here and other folks, the program managers, the deputy program managers, our technical director folks, they're the smart ones. They're out there. As I go through our org chart a little bit, I see a few of them out there. I'll have them wave their hands. I saw in the engagement zone the lines around to chat with them, and that's been fantastic. We learn from you in industry. We learn from our S3 partners. We learn and humbly seek to better support the sailors and Marines we have the honor of serving. So excited to be here. All right, I think I'm going to press there we go. Hey, so C4I, what do we do? And you know, looking out in the audience, a lot of you know exactly what we do, so I won't belabor this too much. But I wanted to highlight some of the key areas. Obviously, cyber is a big part of what we do every day. Making our systems cyber secure from the first time we press compile is a big part of what we're focused on, and we'll talk a little bit about that today. Our SIGINT and METOX systems, it was great to see some of the gear out there in the IW Pavilion. If you get a chance after this, talk to some of those fantastic sailors who are so proud of the gear they have. Talk to our NIW partners, those scientists and engineers out there. Get a chance to talk to them. Just fantastic gear, and they're working with you in industry every day. Networks, both afloat and tactical ashore, big part of our portfolio, and we're excited. A lot of innovation in those areas. We'll talk a bit about it. Command and control and intel systems, fantastic part of the portfolio. And then our SATCOM, tactical radios, GPS, just a lot of great capability out there. And you see up in the upper right-hand corner, there's Admiral Hopper watching over us and making sure that we always challenge the status quo, right? Don't assume what we're doing today is the right thing to be doing tomorrow. And I think as we go through the slides and you get, more importantly, a chance to talk with some of our leaders out here, I hope that comes through, that we're really questioning our assumptions every day because we know we get in strategic competition, as Vice Admiral Morley highlighted in the morning session there. We got more challenges today than we've had in some time. And so we know we got to be on our game And when I say we, I mean all of you as our industry partners, our arsenal of democracy that you are to make us able to deliver these capabilities. So here's an org chart. Here's us there reporting up to ASN. I wanted to go, we have some new folks and some selectees that have been announced, so I wanted to give you a heads up on some of those as we work through the org chart. Obviously, Captain Sam Hinaki and Sal Ledesma leading PMW 120, so that METOC, SIGINT, Intel system portfolio, they're doing some fantastic stuff. Obviously, in a forum like this, we can't go into too much detail about what they do, but it's fantastic. And we're so proud of the gear that is coming out the door from that organization and the partnerships they have with industry and the labs and the S&T community. PMW 130, John Armentrout and Wendy Seacatch, they lead that cyber portfolio. Exciting work going on there. Most recently, Jeff Sanders, who's in that 760 slot, has been selected to be John's relief here in the summer. So we're really excited, and John has done a phenomenal job. If you ever go to one of John's brief, he ends it with GPOD, get product out the door. You measure your winning when capability is in the hands of the sailor. That is the metric of success, and he's done a phenomenal job. So if you see John walking around, pat him on the back, thank him for what he's done. We're lucky to have him for a few more months, but he's been a real hero, and Wendy there alongside with him, delivering capability in a very complex environment today. The cyber threat is real, it's varsity. That fight goes on every day, and they've been heroes of that. PMW 750, Dave Gast and Simon Smith leading the charge there on the surface ship link. MTC2, Global Command and Control Maritime, a number of other software systems. These folks have been real pioneers in pushing the envelope on how we build software smart. It has just been eye-watering to see how they've been able to take a process that has taken months, sometimes many months, or even sometimes years, and they've condensed it down. We were updating software on a deploying strike group's C2 suite weeks before they were getting underway, and it wasn't weeks to fix something that was broken. It was weeks to deliver something they needed to get into the fight. That's Agile, that's Scrum, that's embracing Agile. So great team there in PMW 150. 160, Captain Katie Boehm, she's sitting right there. So if you have any questions related to Canes or AD&S, she is the expert leading the charge. Another home of innovation, rapidly looking at how we do our hardware, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service. She is providing that capability, so those applications in 120 and 150, as well as the hundreds of other applications outside of NavWar that rely on that infrastructure, are served well across multiple enclaves on every ship and submarine in the United States Navy. So great team there, and they're doing fantastic work. PMW 170, Andy Gibbons is walking around. Look for the mustache. He grew it during COVID. Looks great. Anyway, he's doing a fantastic job leading the charge, been at the helm of PMW 170, doing terrific work in the SATCOM suite, looking at expanded commercial opportunities to leverage the resiliency available in that domain, GPS, tactical radios, making sure that our ships and submarines have the capability they need in the tactical fight with a high-end in an era of strategic competition. That's the home of that work, and Andy's done a fantastic job, and working alongside Nick Bergeron is doing terrific things. PMW 740, Suzanne Arney, I saw you over there. Suzanne doing terrific work with ROSA. Recently announced, ROSA has been selected as, oh, there you are, I'm sorry, there we go, sorry, ROSA. Suzanne and Rosa leading the charge. Rosa's been selected to be Suzanne's relief in the next few months, so well done. A round of applause since she's here. Rosa, congratulations. If you talk to Rear Admiral Small or our boss at ASN, Secretary Stephanie, as well as the PMD, Vice Admiral Morley, who was just out this morning, they will tell you, America needs partners. America needs friends. That's the home of making sure that our friends, our allies, our coalition partners have the capability they need to work with us to defend this great nation and our values. So well done to that team. They have, even with COVID and all the challenges, they were still teams around the world pushing the envelope, getting capability, building friendships and networks. So well done to the team. I'm really proud of the work they're doing. 760, Dave Rodriguez and Pat Pemberton doing fantastic work, delivering those CVNs, so a lot of the heavy SCN work, taking all of the gear from our 100s there, the Keynes networks, the SATCOM systems, the applications, all of that, bringing it together and delivering it to our our CVN class ships, our big deck L class ships, and integrating it so that they can get delivered to the warfighter. That crew there leading that charge, making the partnerships with NAVC, just doing a fantastic job. And so thanks to them and their work. PMW 760, Jeff Sanders and Alan Philpott doing a fantastic job there, leading the charge. Again, this is on our DDGs, FF, the new FF class, all of those interactions with NAVC in delivering C4I capability to ships. They lead the charge there, as well as working our unmanned portfolio. Terrific team there, all lined up delivering capability to the fleet. 770, Dave Kuhn, I saw him back there meeting with industry, doing fantastic work, leading the 770 part of the portfolio, integrating on submarines, delivering CSRR and undersea communications. Fantastic crew there, working a long time with the acting Shannon, but soon to be Nismi Quinn, who was out there. I saw her on the floor. She is the new DPM heading into there, so well done to Nismi. And doing a fantastic job as she's moving over from 790. And then Bill Treganza and presently Nismi leading the charge on that tactical shore. As those of you who had an opportunity to interact with Vice Admiral Trussler and our resource sponsor in N2N6, a lot of focus on shore resiliency. How do we improve the capacity? They are an essential part of the fight, and the 790 team expertly leading the charge and being innovators to deliver that capability in an affordable and rapid manner. So great work there. So all of that run through there is really to say, if you got hard questions, I'm going to direct you to them because they're the experts and they're leading the charge. Hey, a real quick kind of scorecard here. I don't want to dwell too much on this, but it really kind of shows that, hey, this organization won NAVWAR with Rear Admiral Small and the DERPM overmatch. Is really focused on getting taxpayers' precious resources in and delivering capability to the fleet. And so I always kind of highlight here the resources in the upper left-hand corner, the outcome on that bottom right. Let's focus on that. That installations, fiscal year 22 planned, 3,127 planned installations. Even during the era of COVID, with your support from industry, we have been able to deliver thousands of installations into the hands of sailors and Marines. It is a big deal. And so for every one of those installs is a design, is a validation of its cyber protections, is a validation that it's engineered correctly from the NAVWAR teammates at 5.0, is ILS, training, documentation, all the things that come with it from our 4.0 partners. It is one NAVWAR taking those resources in that the taxpayers work so hard to give us and getting it in the hands of sailors and Marines out there in the installation. And we've got a great team, a lot of contracts. On the last slide, I'll talk about some of them that are out there, but a lot of contracting actions, a lot of focus on small business. We love small business. We found that's a source of innovation. We want to hear from you. You've got great large business partners too, but we're excited about that innovation that's coming from small business. Our DPMs in each one of that org chart previously are your points of contact for small business. They are the champions in the program office to advance those goals. So if you get a chance, go chat with those DPMs. They'd love to hear from you. All right, next slide here. Okay, so our strategic initiatives. Wanted to talk a little bit about how PEO C4I and NAVWAR as a team are supporting the CNO's strategic initiatives, ASN's strategic initiatives, and ultimately the Secretary of Defense. And so the three areas that we as a PEO have been focusing on together have been sailor self-sufficiency, Devsecops, and digitization. And so I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about each one for a moment, but they are all so interrelated, and they all build on each other, and they're lined up with the guidance that we've gotten from Big Navy the CNO's guidance on get real to get better, really understanding the data, understanding the levers we have, and delivering capability out to the fleet. And so sailor self-sufficiency. So over the last year and a half, as we've been on this journey, we've been really thinking through how do we make sure that the sailor has what they need to operate in strategic competition in that disconnected environment where we won't be able to send a tech out there to fix something. And we realized that as we started this, we needed to really look at how we were supporting those maintainers out in the fleet, that IT2, CT2, IS2, ET2, and CT2. I think I mentioned them again. But hey, those are the ops in DevOps. That sailor out there is the key enabler to making sure that the capability we're delivering can be used in that high-end fight. So we got a lot of terrific partners who've been helping us with there. I think see Miss North there from I4, terrific partner working for Vice Admiral Ashbach on how we improve sailor self-sufficiency. I see Nicole out there who leads our training efforts, really thinking through how we improve and make that sailor ready for that varsity level fight. And so some of the terrific capabilities that have been delivered and are in the hands of sailors today are Kane's TVE capability, and Captain Bain could talk much more eloquently than me on it, but it really focuses on taking a cloud-based environment for our ITs so that out there in Japan, it's been taught in the classroom out there in offsite, doesn't require a lot of infrastructure, just a PC, but each one of those students gets 33 VMs spun up for them so it emulates the Kane ship they're going to. And so if they got different variants, the system supports that. And that emulation is key to giving them that realistic environment so that they can be successful out there in the fleet and understand and get value out of that training so they can keep that system running. And that's just one example. We have a terrific MERTS trainer out there for our communications experts and the ETs and the ITs that do the communication side. Fantastic. Built on the Unity game engine and a low footprint so that you can go out there and teach the sailors and have them be interactive and really get into the training, learn it, and then get out there into the fight. So I'm really excited about that. And we really recognize there in that sailor self-sufficiency, it's one of my favorite things to talk about too, is we know we've won when those sailors don't need to call us. That's the metric of success. And so we've done a lot with our digitization approaches to take the data we're getting from the trouble calls from the systems, the data we're getting from PMS feedback reports, and turning that into action. And so if you get a chance, talk to Nicole, talk to Katie, and I'm sure they can give you a lot more detail on it. DevOps, we wanted to transition from it being a fancy thing that we kind of talked to with hushed tones to just kind of, hey, that's just business as usual. It's been business as usual for industry. We're making it business as usual for us. It is a rising tide. And so today, we have systems out there in the fleet that are connected up to that DevOps pipeline. It is real. And we are excited. So I got a slide on that. I won't belabor it too much on this one, except to say it's not just about the containerized part of the portfolio, although that's important. It is a rising tide for all the software we're delivering across the entire portfolio and being a supporting agent to all PEO MLB, PEO Digital, NAVC, NAVAIR, their applications. It's about enabling them to be successful on these platforms. So we're excited. And then the digitization, just really excited across the board on this work. It is taking all of our business processes from contracts, moving money around, cyber accreditation, engineering accreditation, and installation, and making it all just one digital workflow that our great Americans that are working with us can quickly move through those processes with as little human readable as possible. Just let the machines do the thinking, grade it up, move it through the pipeline, get it out the door, and focus on the high value work, which is really thinking through what we need to do next into the future. And so I'm really excited about that and leveraging AI/ML to get after taking some of that data and turning it into smart So anyway, rambled a lot on that slide, but I'll tell you, I'm really excited. The team has just done a fantastic job. Dr. Lukey and I, our executive director, are just blown away by the progress made by the whole PEO, industry partner, and S3 team as a one NAVWORK. All right, so the Overmatch Software Armory. I want to talk a little bit about the exciting activities going on there, and I want to move through it a little bit quickly so I can get some of your questions. But this has been, a key enabler of our goal to support the fleet by getting software into the hands of the sailor that's right, that works, that we can stand behind quickly. And so, we talk on that, those key lines of effort on that bullet side of the slide. And when we say production stack, what we really mean is canes on ships and submarines, and then stack VSE, canes mock variant on the shore side of the work. And so it really is that fielding more of those production stacks. As we modernize and update those ships and submarines and tactical shore, we're delivering that platform as a service capability to those ships, submarines and tactical shore, with the ability to move containers through that software armory out there to the end and get it in the hands of the sailor. And what's exciting about this technology that's been delivered is it builds trust. It builds comfort with the fleet sailors, the TICOMs, the accreditors, and others. If we got something wrong, you just roll it back to the last version. And we're able to run through that factory and do a lot of automated checking that in the past used to be done by hand. And I know for this crowd here, industry partners and others, you're very familiar with this. It is really game-changing because what it does is it allows folks to stop looking at spreadsheets, stop looking at documents, and really focus on the outcomes we seek and looking at the machine-readable, cued indicators that we're delivering a quality product. And so great progress there. We talked about that maturing the Devsecops software pipeline. It's been a number of years in the making and in the fielding. We've learned a lot over that time about what can work, what can't, what tools we need that really validate and check our software, how to work better with the cloud provider and our partners at NIW PAC and LANT, and how we make that, lower that barrier of entry so you as a developer, your teams from industry can be, one, assured that your intellectual property is being protected, and two, that it's a affordable and accessible way for your developers to get in there, run quickly through the wickets, and get the system out there on the other side. And so this has been a partnership with many, many stakeholders, and it is bearing fruit today operationally out there in the fleet. We talked a little bit about that digitizing logistics, engineering, and certification, that work and flow. It's great to have good tool chains. It's great to have good policy, but where it really matters is when you can do all these things in parallel. So Nicole and the team and Sean Zion, who does logistics, can tell you, we want to make the tech manual. We want to make the YouTube video that goes with the tech manual. We want to do the design. We want to build the accreditation package all in parallel, all digitally aligned, so that as soon as that design's ready to go and move out the door, all the things that go with it to make sure a sailor will be successful with it are delivered at the same time. Simultaneous time on top, delivered to the sailor, ready to go with everything she or he needs to be successful with it. And so that is really the power of this pipeline. It's not so much the tool chains, those are great. It's not so much the containers, those are really cool. But it's really about changing the process and the culture of how we apply these systems. And so we're really excited. Hey, and then that bumper sticker again. That sailor out there, she or he that's maintaining that gear, they are our ops in DevOps. And they're supporting the commander that's the decision maker or the user of that tool so that they can be successful for warfighting outcomes. All right. Hey, I want to take a moment, and I know Lisa Haney's been out here, our acquisition pro, but wanted to talk to you about these middle-tier acquisitions. Vice Admiral Morley highlighted that this morning, and some software pathways and rapid prototyping. We've been very fortunate to be able to avail ourselves of some of these new MTA and software pathways capabilities. These are, it doesn't sound like a really big deal. These are a really big deal. what they're able to do is we're able to kind of pull out some of the stuff we used to do in serial, and again, do it in parallel. Our relationship with CODIF, who basically certifies the equipment and does that, represents the warfighter to give us the go-ahead to field, that partnering with the accrediting agents, the NAO and the SCA at NAVWAR and others, a lot of this has been facilitated by these software pathways. Importantly, we have a different relationship as defined in those MTAs and the software pathways with the warfighter and the resource sponsor. It brings us together more often in a more granular way to stack hands on what we're delivering, recognizing that with software and a lot of these capabilities, we're going to learn. And so we can't snap the chalk line years prior with a grainy PDF that says this is what it's going to be in 5 years or 6 years. This is really about us continually working the resources, continually working that with the fleet, bringing them into the process, getting their feedback, and quickly snapping that chalk line all the time to say, hey, in the next year, this is what we're committing to deliver. It's just as rigorous, it's just as much of a commitment to the acquisition community, to the warfighter, but it really is about not recognizing that we're going to learn every time we field these things, and we're going to have to pivot and be smart as our potential adversaries out there. They move the needle, they push us in different directions. We can be agile and respond to that. And so some of the ones that software pathways, we got real-time Spectrum Ops from 120 in there, DSIGS-N, fantastic piece of gear out there, the Inc. 2 running out there in the fleet, MTC2, and then in execution. So planning means we're prototyping, although a lot of these capabilities are out in the fleet, but they haven't shifted into what's called execution. Night's Next, fantastic piece of weather gear out there, and Navy Cyber Situational Awareness tool, situational awareness, the acronym get me. That tool set that we delivered at 10th Fleet is in execution phase. So now it's matured to the point where we're in that rapid iteration with the warfighter. So really excited. Lisa Haney's the expert on that. If you can see her out there on the floor, corner her, she is the expert. And she's written playbooks that have gone to the Naval X repository, and we're sharing that with the other PEOs, and we're learning from those other PEOs if they work on these pathways. All right, so industry, academic collaboration, we are fascinated and intrigued by AML. It is real. It has been democratized in a way that's unique. Years ago, these technologies were the domain of a small niche, using very specialized tools for some unique data sets. With the commercial tools available, it is now available to a much wider audience. We're ready to deliver these technologies. I won't go into specifics in this forum where we are, but I will tell you that on the logistics and readiness side, we have been using this technology to go through our trouble calls, go through our feedback from the fleet, and turn that into predictive algorithms to say, that trouble call is going to turn into a CAS rep in 3 weeks. We need to get left of it, get some help onto that platform. When we first started doing it, the models were awful. They predicted nothing. But over time, we keep modifying and learning. That's a learning organization. Working with the fleet, we've been able to dial them in better and better. Software-defined networking, very cool technologies out there. Captain Katie Bain there, she's a better expert. She can walk you through that. Exciting technologies being delivered as part of the AD&S and other parts of the infrastructure. Resilient edge compute. I think that edge compute is the new bacon. If you're walking around the floor, you're hearing a lot of cool stuff about that. We are really excited about the possibility of those edge technologies being able to, for us, to abstract out more of that complexity away from the sailor and deliver more cohesive systems. So we're excited as that technology matures. We're seeing that hybrid cloud infrastructure mature. But we recognize the United States Navy, our ships, our submarines, our tactical shore have to operate on America's worst day and have to operate completely disconnected for long periods of time. So as much as we embrace those technologies, we want to leverage them. We do recognize we got kind of a unique use case, so we got to proceed, understand, learn, and then implement. Trusted software ecosystems and antenna technologies. It is a fast-moving environment out there. We were really excited. We're working with industry across the board. We got new technologies and platforms. We need your help. We need your help on safeguarding information. Our potential adversaries out there, they are talented. They are talented at pulling that information. That is not news to this group. So you will see us as a PEO and as an organization in One NAVWAR be much more careful with what we put out, what we talk about, and where we store it. And so I know that it has some burdens onto you in industry, but we need to do it together. We need to do it. We need to protect that information. So I appreciate your support there, and I know it's been a bit of a challenge, but we know we got to get there. Hey, we love the new gear, but we also learn from you on your best practices, what you're doing, how you're doing it. And so when we go and visit with industry and we walk around and on the floor here, a lot of the questions you'll hear from the PMs and DPMs and our staff is, hey, that's cool. How are you building it? What are you doing in industry to get after these challenges? What's your process? So we can learn not just avail ourselves of the technology you're delivering, which is fantastic, but also how you're doing it, so the government, so the Navy, so we can adopt those world-class best practices and implement them for us. And hey, just those prize challenges, those of you who might have seen, I know they had a booth out there talking about these antaxes and other partnerships with the labs. They are doing really cool stuff out there, bringing in more folks from industry so we have more opportunities to learn about what you're doing. All right. So the slide that is usually the most interesting to our industry partners. Here's some upcoming opportunities. PMW 150, Captain Gast and Simon out there, software development, multi-award contract. We're very excited about that. We've been really thinking through what kind of software vehicle do we need with the government partnering with you to really get at how you build software for that pipeline. So we're not asking you to necessarily always deliver just the binaries. We want to understand and work with you to get the system delivered as code so we can work through it, find how it's integrating into the system as a whole, learn together, and deliver a better piece of gear in the outcome. So I'm excited about that. The Canes one just hit the streets, so we're really excited about that. New construction, C4I integration in 760, tremendous work going on there, I tell you. Putting together a brand new ship, there is few things cooler than delivering a ship or submarine and making that C4I system whole on that platform. We have great partners at NAVC, Tom Anderson, Casey Morton, Admiral Seiko O'Connor, and others. We are delivering this capability together on these platforms, and the 760 team is a new vehicle out there to get after that. The virtual training environment, which is exciting. Shark Cage, cyber defensive system there. Very cool work going on there. AD&S has a production contract, and then an antenna production contract. So just a lot of opportunities. These are just some of the big ones. There's always a lot more out there at the Fed Biz Ops, so I encourage you to keep looking at that. And again, a lot of focus on small business. All right, I raced through it because I wanted to get an opportunity for some questions there, and I'm from Queens, and I just talk fast anyway. So with that, I think we got a mic out there. Any questions out there? Thanks.
Thank you for the test. Thanks. Thanks for batting cleanup, Admiral. So you mentioned AI/ML with the logistics use case, getting left of an outage or a failure. Makes a lot of sense. Probably everybody gets on board with that. Where do you see low-hanging fruit opportunities for AI/ML on the C4I stack? Because dealing with probabilities of confidence, you're a commander, it's probably, there's maybe more pushback. They want absolute, kind of evidence that something's going to deliver an outcome that's in line with the mission versus bad data, a bad output, misinterpreted data. So where do you see sort of AI/ML helping in the C4I arena operationally? Thank you, sir.
Hey, it's a great question. Thanks for going first there. That's always the icebreaker there. So a couple of things. One is I think you bring up a good point that we have to build trust with the warfighter that using these technologies, the outcome that is expected will happen. And so, as we develop and build these systems, our tech authority from 5.0, our partners there and others, we have to be lockstep to be able to show and demonstrate to the warfighter that employing this, we ran through the model shows this multiple times. Unless we make a major modification, these are the range of parameters you will get out the other end. And so you bring up a good point on the probability. It is unlike a deterministic system. So yeah, so I think one is building trust. I think, I would want to say too that what we're doing here with DevOps and employing the software factories and making our infrastructure more standard is really ultimately about clearing the decks to be ready for more and more AI ML. And we need that capacity and that footprint, and we need our applications more and more to employ them. And because it really is a powerful mechanism to get after a lot of our C4I challenges and to be more agile and dynamic. And so we're excited about it. I think, again, not to dial in too much, but we've learned a lot in some areas of the portfolio. We've been able to get left of it. And what we've been able to demonstrate is, hey, if you insert test points at the right spot in the neural nets or in other areas, we can demonstrate, hey, with a pretty high degree of confidence that, hey, warfighter, you can trust these outcomes and these probabilities. I think what will be key is we're wasting a lot of data. There's a lot of great data on the sensors. There's a tremendous amount of data out there on those platforms that is just hitting the cutting room floor. And so we're excited to get the capability so we can do that processing on each one of those platforms with the right technology set to be able to churn through that and make value out of those and turn those discoveries from those systems into warfighting effect. I think in some ways we're in a bit of a war of algorithms with our potential adversaries. The people who can get that better algorithm to the endpoint faster, that just does that 2% improvement in detection or that 3% improvement in this C state could make all the difference. And so it's up to us to race through and get these capabilities out there, but inform the warfighter, hey, here's the risk, and articulate it in a way that they can say, yep, I understand where you're coming from, acquisition community, let's go ahead and proceed. Did that kind of get after it a little bit? All right, hey, thanks for asking that.
Good morning, Admiral. I just wanted your opinion on the OTAs. Are you getting what you wanted out of them? And where do you think the future in OTAs are going to go?
Yeah, hey, we've had a number of them, and they've been really helpful. They've been really productive. I think we did the one for peers, right, Katie? The 5G stuff? All right, so we've been really happy with those OTAs, and there's other ones in the PEO portfolio as well. I've watched some of the process as you go through them. Hey, pretty quick. You're able to, sit down, work through the process, get some talent on contract to go after challenges in a really relatively quick fashion. So yeah, I think we've been really happy with them. I think we'll continue to employ them. It's another tool in the toolbox. It's not right for everything, but it is the right thing for a lot of capabilities. And we've gotten positive feedback from industry as we've talked to folks about it that says, hey, we like participating in the consortiums. We like the speed there. We like getting things going. And it gives you that latitude to pivot as you learn new things and work your way through it, and then sometimes shift over to production. So yeah, we're really happy with it. Did I get after your question, ma'am? Great, thanks for it. All right. Any other last ones? All right. All right. Hey, folks, thank you for what you do for the United States Navy, for the fleet, for the sailors out there. It was great to see you. And be safe if you're flying home, and thanks again.